So it's all for play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hello, Aston Villa fans, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. And I just thought I'd jump on and do a very, very quick podcast on a player that is really interesting. Someone I'm going to be really honest with you, someone I don't know a whole pile about. But when I saw something on Twitter last night with regards to Aston Villa being linked with this player, I wanted to look into him. It's Colombian striker Jhon Duran. And he plays for Chicago Fire in the MLS. He's a very young player. He's 19 years of age. He made his professional debut at 15 for, I can't pronounce the name of the team. I actually tried to spell it out phonetically here. But he made it for Envigado in Colombia. And that is the team that has brought us players like James Rodriguez. And they're a very well-fabled nursery of talent in Colombia, it seems. So he started off his career there at the age of 15 and scored his first goal 7 months later. He got his move to the MLS just this year, and he's been tearing up trees since he's got there since. But he's somebody that's been on the radar for quite a lot of teams. He's been linked with Liverpool, Manchester United, West Ham, Benfica, and I just thought it'd be nice to have a little look at him and see. I don't know whether this transfer is going to happen from an Aston Villa point of view, but it's interesting to see that we're being linked with these younger players as well as older type players or players maybe just about to hit their prime. This guy is 19, the likes of Nicholas Jackson obviously has the links to Unai Emery already. He has been linked as well, and I thought that this guy would be interesting to take a look at. So a couple of bits and pieces with regards to this player. Obviously he's with Chicago Fire at the moment. There are some quotes that I found from former Aston Villa player Brad Friedel, which say that Jhon Duran is young but has all the attributes to succeed. He's powerful, he's fast, he can hold the ball up, and he has an eye for goal. He has the profile for the Premier League, but he is a bit raw and he still has some learning to do yet. And I think that's probably fair to say of any 19-year-old that would be coming from the MLS into the Premier League. So if Aston Villa were to make a move for this person, I don't think that it would be somebody that would come in straight away. But it's a move that I think could be welcome, because you want to kind of sweep up these types of players as best you can and try and get them before they hit the big leagues, maybe, and try and make them into the player that you want them to be, because that's something I think Aston Villa, that's somewhere where I think that Aston Villa will need to will need to excel in. Obviously we're looking for players with sell-on value. We're not in a position where we can go out and we can spend 100 million on a player, I don't think. That's why the likes of João Felix and these guys that we've been linked with previously, to me, are a bit pie in the sky. But if you buy a Jhon Duran for maybe 6 to 10 million, somewhere in and around that ballpark, maybe he gets loaned out, maybe somewhere on the continent, he comes back and he plays for Aston Villa at the age of 20, 21, and then he has 2 or 3 good seasons and he goes for 50, 60 million, or maybe Aston Villa make Europe at that stage and he becomes a focal point of our attack. Well, then that would be absolutely fantastic, because but I think that's kind of where Aston Villa should be looking to, as well as maybe trying to bring in that experienced striker at the moment, because why not? As I say, if we have got owners who've got money to burn, I think that there should be we should be looking to other countries to try and snap up younger players there, see if they can cut it in the Premier League. And this guy looks like he can cut it in the Premier League. He's got 3 caps for Colombia as well, as I say, at the age of 19, which is definitely something. And I think, obviously, the fact, as I said, that he's just signed for Chicago Fire this year, he's got 8 goals already for them. I think that they're going to want some decent money for him. So I could see him anywhere from maybe up to maybe about a 10 million price tag, maybe something that Chicago Fire would look for, which, to be honest with you, for an MLS club would be huge money would be huge money altogether. But let's take a little look at some of the slides that I've put together. I only put together 2 slides in them. As I say, I'm not going to claim I know a whole pile about him. I've watched some footage of him over the course of last night on Y-Scout, and he seems like he's got a small bit about his game from the point of view of the Premier League profile. So from what the limited piece that I've seen in him, I would have to agree with Brad Friedel. He looks like a Premier League type striker in his physical makeup, in the fact that he does, he's got a good ratio of, how will I put it? He's got a good ratio of size to strength, power type ratio, if that makes sense. So he looks imposing when he's on the field. He looks big. He's 6'1". And when he gets turned, he's still able to get into full flight when he starts running as well. So he doesn't look cumbersome. He's not a one-trick pony from that point of view, where he can only be a target man. He is athletic when he gets the ball, at his feet, and he looks like, as I say, you can only make these determinations, but he looks like he's robust enough to take a tackle while being fast enough to get away from players as well, because he seems to have a very good, decent turn of pace. One thing I want to talk about him as well is he's left-footed, and he's predominantly left-footed. Like, I don't think I saw much of him at all utilizing his right foot, so he's very left-foot dominant. But you show me a young player that is adept with both of their feet, specifically when they're a young player, maybe coming from South America or maybe even playing in the MLS, and it just probably highlights some of the areas that he probably need to improve on to be able to cut it in the Premier League week in, week out. His agent, now, I've been trying to find out who his agents are. One site says it's John Herrera, who he is the only client of. Another site says that he is agentless at the moment, and another site I found says that he's recently signed for Niagara Sports. Now, why is that important? The reason that that's important is Niagara Sports, if he has signed for them, they do have quite a big catalogue of European-based players. Dani Olmo played for Spain in the World Cup. He would probably be their most high-profile. Alvaro Morata as well, somebody else. Somebody we've been linked to as well. And this is another interesting point as to why I bring this up, because maybe this may just be agent speak, because Nacho Fernandez of Real Madrid, who we've been linked to previously, he is a client of Niagara Sports, and also as Paul Onachu, who is a client of Niagara Sports too. So the big tall striker from Belgium that we've been linked tediously to as well, who I haven't done any podcast on at all. So I just wanted to throw that one out there. This could be agent speak, but also we could be working with these agents. This agent might be somebody who's familiar with Unai Emery from his time in Spain. They may be somebody that's floating these players around. They may be somebody that may have been brought on board with our recruitment team to maybe look for players like this. Who knows? There could be an awful lot in this. There could be nothing in this. But I just thought it was interesting to point that out, because from time to time when we do these podcasts, a lot of people will either think that we should sign this player, or that we shouldn't, or there's a possibility, or there isn't. And I think it's important to kind of highlight highlight all these aspects when we are talking about the players themselves. So let's take a look at some of his statistics here. I thought it would be unfair to put any percentages in here, considering MLS is going to be a lower standard of league. Also, with regards to FBref, they don't do the MLS. They don't do the statistical base for the percentages, the percentiles of the top 5 leagues in the world against those, because obviously it's based on strength of schedule and strength of opposition. So it would be unfair to do that. But I have put Duran up against the strikers that we have already, and what we can see here is he's got some pretty decent numbers. When we look at the amount of shots he takes per 90 minutes, it's almost up on 4 shots per game, which far dwarfs the players that we have at our disposal at the moment, in Ollie Watkins and Danny Ings. Aerial duels 1, he's coming in there at about 50%, 48.4%. So once again, utilizing his 6'1" frame. I've seen this on film as well, of him being able to hold up the ball and being confident enough to be able to take on the rough and tumble of a centre half, albeit once again being in the MLS. When we look at his scoring frequency there, his scoring frequency in the MLS is 1 goal in every 171 minutes, which is pretty decent. You can only play the teams that you're up against, and he is quite a young player. So that's something that we would look at as well. Also, the chances missed come in. he's youthful. He takes a lot of shots. Not all of them go on target. We can see he's got a 40% on target rate there, but he has missed 9 big chances over the course of his short career in the MLS so far. I think that's going to be something, once again, going back to Brad Friedel's quote there, he does have some rough edges that you're going to need to polish up as well. A statistic I don't have here is that he loves a yellow card, and he also has been red carded in his short career in the MLS so far. So I don't know whether you want to say that it's a red flag for him or anything like that, but discipline can potentially be an issue for him. When you I suppose when you look at somebody so youthful, maybe that could just be youthful exuberance. I don't know. I don't want to patronize the guy either from that point of view. But looking at his overall, so once again, remember he started his career at 15 years of age. He's played 72 career games so far, scoring 17 goals and has 7 assists. And now there are league goals, league games, and league assists as well. So any player who makes his debut at 15 surely has something physically about him. You wouldn't throw somebody in there who is undercooked from that point of view. And when we look at him in comparison to the players that we have at the moment, we can see he gets an awful lot more shots away than the 2 incumbents that we have. Recovers the ball at a pretty decent clip as well. He's there at about 3 ball recoveries, just under 3 ball recoveries per game, which is quite good. Even when you compare that to the top 5 in Europe, that is quite good, and it's better than the players that we have there. So with regards to him being, I suppose, a shoot on sight type player, the ball recoveries part is interesting as well, because we know that that's the work that our strikers like to do up top as well. Shot creating actions, he doesn't make that many shots. He doesn't have that many shot creating actions. Comes in and around the same as Danny Ings, but that's because he plays a small bit more centrally. His goal creating actions are there with our incumbents at 0.33 goal creating actions per 90 minutes. We've mentioned his scoring frequency and his chances missed. His goals per shot ratio is 0.13, which puts him in the same bracket as Ollie Watkins. I'm sure that would be seen by some people as a positive or a negative with regards to his ability. But remember, he does get 40% of his shots on target. I think one of the big things here is he shoots an awful lot more than the players that we have. He takes almost 2 more shots than per game than Ollie Watkins would. So extrapolated out, he's going to have a worse shots per goals ratio from that point of view. But if you don't shoot, you don't score. And also, as we know, some of the criticisms that Ollie Watkins comes in for is his 1-to-1 finishing and so on. So this guy, as I say, Jhon Duran, his contract runs out in 2024, but the team option, the Chicago Fire have a team option on him for the 2025 season. So realistically speaking, he's got about two years left on his contract already. So it's not a case whereby you could get him at a cut down price. Transfer Market have him rated at £6 million pounds. I would imagine that Chicago Fire would hold out for a bit more for him, considering he's only recently signed. But he does seem to be somebody who's looking to move to Europe. When he was linked with the likes of United, Liverpool, West Ham, Benfica, and so on and so forth, it was reported, I found online, can't remember where I found it now, that his family had actually gone to Europe to try and secure a European agent. And maybe that's where the Niagara Sports comes in, that they've gone to secure a European agent, try and suss out what the market would be for him here, because I'm sure as a 19-year-old, he doesn't want to spend the rest of his career in the MLS. And if there is interest in Europe, he wants to make sure he gets the right landing spot for him. And why couldn't that be Aston Villa? Even though there are bigger teams involved, they're the likes of United, Liverpool, and Benfica, teams who've got European football to offer. He might be somebody that Aston Villa may have their eyes on, may not. As I say, it could all be agent speak, but we'll know over the coming days and weeks as this transfer window materializes and starts to get back up to speed in the month of January as well. So yeah, a very quick little podcast here on him. As I say, that's Jhon Duran, and like as I say, if you guys find out any more on him, please comment on the piece below. I don't know a whole pile about him. I'm going to be digging into him more, and obviously, should we be linked with him by any more outlets, as I say, it was Calcio Mercato that linked him to Aston Villa, whether that is agent speak or not, as I would imagine a lot of transfers come about by agent speak anyway, or agents contacting clubs, but maybe this one might have something in it. Personally, I have absolutely no idea, and I've no dog in the fight. I couldn't even say whether he'd be a good fit for Aston Villa, but I hope that this has been enlightening, and that if we do sign him, we will obviously deep dive into him a small little bit more. But Jhon Duran, a young player, interesting player, tearing it up in the Premier, in the MLS at the moment, and linked with teams around Europe. So should he sign for Aston Villa, we will have a small bit more on him. But I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you found it interesting. And until next time, all that's left to say is stay safe and up the Villa.